Well, a game we thought would be an absolute blowout turned into a thriller. That was at Optus Stadium. It was Essendon holding on against the West Coast Eagles, and this was a big moment in the game. It was Liam Ryan with 2 minutes and a half left to go in this game. 7 points down were the Eagles. They had led throughout the game. He plays on, Kate, which was surprising to me because he is a really good set shot usually, and I would actually back him in to make that snap, and it was a very disappointing mistake.
Yeah, I think this is where the mental game comes into football. First of all, the pressure on him with the scoreboard. The next one, his night, 0 goals, 2. Here a look at his 3. So he had 3 set shots. 2 of them made it through for behinds, 1 out on the full. So as a player, this is in the back of your mind. You've had 3 set shots. That one's obviously a much harder shot at goal than the previous one, which should have been kicked. And it starts to seed a lot of doubt in your mind as to what you do. And often you'll see players then, once they take a mark, if they think they have the opportunity to not have a set shot, they'll do it. He wasn't aware of what was around him. The game on the line, obviously there's going to be a whole lot of pressure. Should have gone back and iced the game there. Well, not iced the game, sorry, put them within a point. Yep. Gone back to the centre bounce where they're the opposition's without their best ruck, which we'll get to. But yeah, I think that changes the context of the game.
So after Essendon ruckman Nick Bryan suffered a season-ending ACL injury the week before, Brad Scott brings in Peter Wright to allow Sam Draper to play more time in the ruck. And Peter Wright, well, it was his first game for 2025. He stood tall in attack, 6 goals, 1 if you don't mind.
He was impressive. It was different ways that he scored his goals too. Some from marks, some from crumbs. The first one we saw a big 2-metre Peter pick up the ball from the ground.
I was surprised with that one.
And then some beautiful set shots as well. That was one thing that he really does nail. He's very good on a set shot. So very impressive. And yes, the disappointing news about Draper. Good news is they've got 2-metre Peter back playing some good footy, kicked 6 goals in his return game. So that does sort of allow them to have that key tall in front of goal where they were trying to use Draper.
So Draper, the Achilles injury, it's not good news when it comes to the ruck stocks at Essendon. It probably means that a 36-year-old veteran that I think a lot of people had forgotten was still on Essendon's list in Todd Goldstein is going to be the man come Anzac Day in about a week's time against Collingwood next week.
Yeah, you think he would be the one that would get the call up for this game as we see the injury occurring here, and it's textbook Achilles. When you go to push off, it's almost like a sniper injury. You see the player go down with no one around them, and clear disappointment, and he'd just be shattered sitting there because you know an Achilles is sort of a 12-month injury. And I think a lot of people would see that footage from 3/4 time where he's talking to the doctor, he's talking to the physio and say, well, why on earth would you put him back out there to play? It's round 6, what's going on? Well, as a player, that's probably one of the hardest decisions to make. You feel, you're listening to your body, so you kind of feel like something's not quite right. Those conversations were actually around his left calf, not the same side as the Achilles injuries, but you have this choice to make in a very small space of time. Do I sit on the bench and watch my team essentially, they could win, they could lose and have no say in it to protect myself? Do I go out there and risk it? And sometimes the risk pays off, sometimes it doesn't. So I think you can't really use hindsight here and say, oh, he shouldn't have played that 4th term.
And it'll be a really interesting watch on his future because as we know, he becomes a free agent at the end of the season. Last week it was revealed he's an unrestricted free agent, not restricted. So it'll be interesting to see how clubs who are curious about securing his services beyond next year feel about this latest injury.